Today I'm going to tell you about something that shocked me when I learned it. There is a mountain of archaeological evidence that supports the Bible, and yet it's never been published, translated, or made available for the public to view. This is not a conspiracy theory. Historians would all agree with what I'm about to tell you. Watch till the end, and I promise you, you'll be shocked too. But first, let me give you some background. At the turn of the 19th century, a group of manuscripts was discovered which date back to the time of ancient Greece and Rome. They are called the Oxyrhynchus papyri. They were found in what was the equivalent of an ancient trash dump, and yet this trash is more valuable than gold to historians because these manuscripts give us an eye into the ancient world, helping scholars piece together many of the gaps in our knowledge of history. These manuscripts include any and all kinds of material, from ancient horoscopes to personal letters to handwritten copies of literature like Homer's Iliad or the Gospel of Thomas. Each manuscript gives us a snapshot into the life of another forgotten person, broadening our historical understanding. Here's an example of one of the letters, which was from a mother to a father. Make every effort to put off everything and come tomorrow. The baby is sick. He has become thin. He hasn't eaten for 6 days now. I am afraid that he will die while you are not here. And if he dies when you are not here, take care that you don't find me dead too. This is just one letter in thousands of manuscripts in what has been considered one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time. But how does this relate to the Bible? 2 ways. First, within this collection were numerous Bible manuscripts. These were handwritten copies of parts of the Bible. Out of all of our New Testament manuscripts, the ones made out of papyrus are our oldest, most important, and most reliable. Out of all of our papyrus manuscripts of the New Testament, the ones found in this discovery make up over 40%. This collection also includes our very oldest New Testament manuscript. This is very important since some scholars have argued that we don't know what was originally in the Bible since we don't have the original manuscripts. We only have copies. They say it's very possible that the Bible was changed between the time that the Bible was written and the time that our earliest copies were written, meaning that we have no way of knowing what the Bible originally said. Bar Ehrman states, since we do not have extensive early manuscripts, we cannot know for certain that the wording of the New Testament books that we have corresponds completely with what the authors wrote. We just can't know for sure. However, Ehrman does go on to admit that we do have a good understanding of what was originally in the Bible, we just can never be completely certain. This is why every new manuscript we find is important, because each one strengthens our confidence that we know what was originally written. Now here's where it gets crazy. Although the Oxyrhynchus papyri provide us with over 40% of all our New Testament papyri, scholars haven't even gone through all of the papyri manuscripts and translated them yet. They started working on the project over 100 years ago, translating and cataloging them and publishing them into books. So far, they've completed 83 volumes of these books, totaling over 5,000 papyri manuscripts, of which about 55 are of the New Testament. However, although they've completed 5,000 manuscripts, there still exists 500,000 that haven't been translated or cataloged yet. This means that over the last 100 years, they've only completed about 1%. At this rate, it will take them another 10,000 years for them to finish going through all of these manuscripts. When you realize that many of our most important Bible manuscripts were in this 1%, it puts me in awe to think that just sitting there is 99 times more discoveries than the many discoveries we've already gotten from this 1%. If you think that shocks you, wait till you hear this. There are many very important Christian documents which have been lost to history and scholars have only dreamed of discovering. In 1 Corinthians 5:9, we learn that Paul had actually already written them a letter, one which we no longer have. Likewise, in Colossians 4:16, Paul talks about a letter he wrote to the Laodiceans that isn't in the Bible. There's no telling how many letters Paul wrote that we don't have. Likewise, at the beginning of his gospel, Luke talks about how there were already many gospels about Jesus circulating at the time that he wrote his. Gospels that give information about Jesus that we no longer have today. Papias was an early Christian writer who interviewed many people that had heard stories about Jesus directly from the eyewitnesses. Papias wrote these stories down into his books, and yet none of his books have survived until today. They undoubtedly contained many reliable stories about Jesus that we no longer have. What if copies of some of these lost writings are just sitting in the collection of Oxyrhynchus papyri that haven't been translated? Out of those 500,000 manuscripts, there are certainly some that would give valuable new information on Jesus or early Christianity. In fact, in this collection there has already been found a copy of a story about Jesus not found in any of our Gospels, a story dating to a few decades after John was written. It's a story about a confrontation between Jesus and the Jewish religious leaders inside the temple. And although the historicity of the story is debated, think of the other countless stories that are historically reliable that might just be sitting in this collection. When I learned about this, I wondered why textual critics aren't racing to translate these manuscripts and be the first to make the next big discovery. So I reached out to Bart Ehrman, a world-famous scholar and one of the leading textual critics, and he actually got back to me with an answer. He said, the scholars who publish the material are classicists who are experts in fields related to textual criticism, but they tend to be papyrologists and paleographers. Why aren't they rushing to publish all of the material? Simple reason. They are very, very few in number. There just ain't a lot of people in the world who can do this stuff. So there you have it. If you like this video, subscribe. In this channel, I bring the powerful evidence for Jesus to you in a way that I hope is compelling. And by subscribing, you can help this channel grow so that the information can get to the people who need it. Thanks.